Welcome back, Virgo. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, and empowerment coach. And I'm here today to talk about the monthly horoscope for September 2022. And it is teeing up to be a really big month, heading towards the end of the year. Lots of stuff going on. And for Virgo, it's directly related to you. So let's start off with something I'm gonna hit a few different points throughout the month. I also, for those of you that are new to my channel, do a live stream on Sunday mornings, 11 a.m. Pacific time, where I go through the weekly transits. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to just address a few key points that I think are important for the month and that will tee up influencing the subsequent months as we go into the holidays. And I like to look at the moon first. I'm kind of rogue this way. You don't hear very many people, if anyone, talk about looking at your moon first. But I believe that the human manifests on their emotional body, what they believe about themselves, how they feel about themselves, how they feel about the situation. All of that is reflected in our thoughts, and our thoughts come out in our words, and our words create our experience. So Virgo moon, rising, sun, and stelliums. I say moon, obviously, because of what I just said, emotional body. The rising sign is your perception. It's how you view the world. Is the cup half full, half empty? This is going to influence your emotional body. So these are two very, very on par points for me, meaning they're equals in many ways. Then we have the sun. The sun is how I reflect out in the world, how people perceive me. It doesn't always, for me personally, correlate to who I am on the inside. I'm an Aries rising and a Libra sun. So here's, harmony and war, trying to figure it out together. Also, we have stelliums. A stellium is where there's 3 or more planets in one sign or house. And I think of them as personal planets. That's Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn. We're going to look at those personal planets. The moon would be in there as well. They will reflect an intention that the soul has for this particular life path and a focus that it is addressing in this life path. So I hope you can hear me over that helicopter. It seems to just be hovering somewhere. So I might talk a little louder. So Virgo, the first thing I want to talk about is Mars going into its shadow period before the retrograde period, which starts October 30th. Mars's influence over the next few months is going to be huge. We're going to see the whole month of September gearing up for the retrograde period, which will then go on until January 12th, 2023. And then we'll see a post-retrograde shadow period as Mars ramps back up to move forward. Mars is the planet of assertion. It's the god of war. Most of us know that. It rules heroes, bravery, courage, bluntness, impatience, a bit of a going your own energy, not really looking to be a team player too often. And then we have the Gemini energy, which is all about team playing. It rules our communities, our neighborhoods, our siblings, our everyday activities, our emails, our communications, our roadways, everything that we do in our everyday life, including what we speak about, what we listen to, what we absorb on the media. So for Virgo, Mars is entering Gemini in your 10th house of career, in the house that's the most public to those around you. So this period of time for me is going to be extremely important in setting up a dynamic for your future. And I want to offer it this way because while Gemini is ruled by Mercury and Virgo is ruled by Mercury, the idea that you both have a co-ruler, you go about it in different ways. So Gemini by nature is a persuasive speaker, curious and flirtatious and rather lighthearted. Sorry for the banging of the table. And so I feel as if this is an opportunity for Virgo to look at how you are speaking to others, how you're listening. Are you engaged in the social interaction of what Gemini has to offer in the 10th house, and then being able to go back to the idea of the processes that Virgo likes when analyzing a situation. Because I think that there's going to be an opportunity for you to really get an awareness about how you are landing on other people, or how you have landed on other people. And if for some reason your go-to energy has been to be dependable beyond your own comfort, then this may be a time when you start to realize that you've built up a little bit of resentment or anger about it. It doesn't have to be anything extreme, but if it does come up that way, it's an opportunity for you to actually go into your 10th house energy and purport more self-balance, more harmony for self. So you're putting yourself first a little bit more than you are potentially putting others first. And unless you just totally get excited about always putting other people first, and that rocks your emotional world, then I think there's a little something where a little me time is in order, a little review of how do I want not only for the public to view me, but for me to view myself within the public eye. Virgo in its shadow side can be a little critical of itself, can be a little bit of a perfectionist. And sometimes the world is comforted when they see someone is fabulously flawed. So they watch somebody who isn't perfect, because sometimes the appearance of perfection makes it seem like things happen easily. So I think somehow this particular month of September will not only tee up an awareness of yourself and how you are interacting with your teammates, your workmates, your neighborhood, your community, your siblings, even your children on some level. You could be a teacher. You know, Gemini rules teachers. So how you are communicating and how that communication is aligned to how you're feeling on the inside, and then how it's being projected onto the outside world. I think that's super important. This is, again, a very long transit. So there will be what I feel waves of awareness, waves of revelation. It can be something very mundane. I had a chair in my living room that I bought brand new. I don't know why I ever bought it. It was not in my taste. It was not in my color. It was not in my comfort zone. But when I bought it, I was buying it hoping that other people would be joining me in more social activity. And so I really did not buy the chair for myself, but for the projection of what I had hoped would happen, and it never happened. So for me, there may be a little bit of a check going on here for Virgo as to, you know, where am I purporting energies that are in service to others, and yet I'm not being in service to myself, and thereby there's an imbalance. I just want to put it that way. All right. Then on the 5th, 2 days after we start this self-reflection of my actions and my assertion versus my attraction, that's what I want to offer too. Mars has a great ability to be bold in allowing itself to attract what it needs to it. If you think about it, being a pioneer, there's a certain amount of trust you have to have when you go into the wilderness to understand that you have skills, and then the universe itself is going to provide an opportunity to use those skills to feed yourself, clothe yourself, shelter yourself. So it's the same basic dynamic, only in modern times. Now let's look at Venus moving into your first house of self, because I think this is super, super important. This is an opportunity to love on yourself, to take care of yourself, to assess how you are handling your stress. And are you giving yourself an opportunity to physically, mentally, emotionally, financially slow the roll down and give yourself a break? Venus is going to be in Virgo until the 29th of September. And on the 29th, she's going to be making some very interesting aspects as she moves into Libra, but we'll address that later. On the 9th, Mercury will go retrograde in Libra, and then it will, on the 29th, yes, it will retrograde back into Virgo. I say this because your ruling planet is Mercury, and we're looking at Mars entering Gemini. Your sister sign, for lack of a better term, because you're both ruled by the same ruler. So now what I want to say is, as Mercury goes retrograde in Libra, it gives Virgo an opportunity to see how your words are persuasive. For me, a little bit of a challenge with the Virgo moon or Virgo rising is that it's so invested in the process of a situation that it can inadvertently get in a box about it. And so this is an opportunity to reflect where there's a need for balance, where there's a need for yin and yang, and allowing an ebb and a flow. Because when we get to the 29th, we're going to see Mercury making a opposition to Neptune in Pisces. And this is going to, in some ways, kind of remove some rose-colored glasses. It's going to create a tension or an opposition between how I feel about what I want for myself and how I view myself and how I put my skills out into the world. The Mercury retrograde starts in your second house, and then it moves into your first house. We have Venus being in your first house. We have Mars in your 10th house. So there's a lot of energy about how you feel about yourself, and how you feel about yourself is being interpreted by those around you. Libra is a very social sign. Gemini is a social sign. Mercury is a very social planet. So I think these are important. And I think it's important for your physical well-being, your mental health, even your financial body, to enjoy a little bit of downtime. September is traditionally a month where we're gearing back up. Kids are going back to school. People are getting back into their routines. Here in the United States, the days are getting shorter. And we're preparing for the holiday season. But for some reason, this is really hitting me as it's important for Virgo to take care of Virgo right now. And I also want to say that with Venus moving into Virgo in your first house, there's an opportunity, I believe, to find more abundance in your resources, or to find some benefit or some expansion within your financial body. And this may inadvertently come through the retrograde. It may end up being like somebody that you did something for, or somebody that you had worked with or had collaborated with in some way, comes back into your space and offers you an opportunity for more bounty or more abundance. We have the sun moving into Libra on the 22nd. I will be doing separate videos for the full moon in Pisces and the new moon in Libra, so be on the lookout for that. On the 23rd of September is when we're going to see Mercury going back into Virgo. I think you're going to feel that a lot, because I think what we're going to go from this feeling of wanting to foster harmony to trying to find a process for feeling that harmony. So hang on tight, my Virgos, because process, I think, will come through inspiration, and it may come through something that feels very simplistic, something that is not, doesn't need rocket science in order to manifest. I referenced earlier on the 29th, Venus will be moving into Libra. Mercury will be making the opposition to Neptune. Both of these, Pisces and Virgo, rule the health. Pisces rules hospitals, it rules research, where we do laboratory experiments and discover things in some ways. Virgo rules our everyday lives and our stresses and our physical body in that respect. So if your body is feeling exhausted, if you're feeling a pull between your obligations and wanting to just go and lay down in your room and have a nice nap, you might want to let yourself have that nap and really enjoy that nap, so that when you go back into work time, you're more productive. I feel as if there's a potential that the illusion of obligation will be removed for you, but it's a permission you're going to have to give yourself, because we also have Pluto making a trine to Mercury that day. So Pluto is always going to represent sort of a rebirth, and we can't have a rebirth without having a closure of some kind. And that feels like it's a closure on how I'm talking to myself, what I'm expecting from myself, how I perceive others' expectations of me. And I feel as if this is an important time for Virgo also to potentially, when Venus moves into Libra and you've had this whole month of Mercury's retrograde to assess how you're reviewing and analyzing things, and you're having an opportunity to see how your words are engaging and inspiring to others, I think that this has an opportunity to make you feel more influential as Venus moves into Libra, feeling like I can incorporate these ideas more than maybe I have in the past. So that's what I have to say for my Virgos. Again, I think there's going to be an emphasis on the self, on being kind to the self, on viewing the progress that the self has made throughout this lifetime versus whatever there is left to climb in this lifetime, because there will always be a mountain to climb and there will always be a valley to descend into. And our job as spiritual beings inhabiting a human experience is to find the divinity in the integration of both things, and then think of this sort of as a roller coaster. So when I'm on an ebb and I'm about to feel like I'm going down, then what can I do to put my hands up in the air and enjoy the ride, so that when I'm coming back up, I trust the new platform more and more and more as I ascend into greater versions of what I want to experience in this earthly plane. All right, that's it for me. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, angel therapy practitioner, empowerment coach, and Reiki master. If you'd like to book a session with me, my information is in the description below, and I am available. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday mornings, 11 a.m. Pacific time, for our live stream to look at the weekly transits. Have a great September, everybody.